Nagar, Gujarat, India. Dr. Shelja Jain, Professor, Department of Food and Nutrition, KRG PG College, Gwalior, Madhya Pradesh. Mrs. Sheila Krishnaswamy, Registered Dietitian, Nutrition and Wellness Consultant, Founder, Nutrition Nectar. Dr. Pushpa Bharti Ma'am, Professor of Food Science and Nutrition, Dean, College of Community Science, University of Agricultural Sciences, Karnataka. Professor Santosh Dhar, Dean, Faculty of Doctoral Studies and Research, Coordinator, Sri Vaishnav Institute of Social Science, Humanities, Arts. Professor Uttam Sharma Sir, Coordinator, Sri Vaishnav Institute of Home Science, HOIs, HODs, faculty members, all guest attendees, participants and dear students. Nutrition is a critical part of health and development. Better nutrition is related to improved infant, child, maternal health, stronger immune system, safer pregnancies, childbirth, low risk of non-communicable disease such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and longevity. With this, I'd like to welcome you all in National Nutrition Week Celebrations 2021, a lecture series cum quiz competition from September 1 to 7 September 2021. Every work remains unmoved, unconvinced without the blessings of the Almighty. To make this morning a blessed one, may I now request to technical team to invoke Goddess Saraswati by watchfully kindling the lamp of knowledge and wisdom. Please play Saraswati Vandana. Thank you. Now I would like to request Professor Santosh Dhar, Dean, Faculty of Doctoral Studies and Research, to address the gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Deepali. The esteemed panelists and the resource persons for this week, Dr. Uttam Sharma, Coordinator of Sri Vaishnav Institute of Home Science, Convener, Dr. Deepali Saxena, faculty members of the Institute, all HOIs, HODs of constituent institutes of the university, and students, a warm welcome to inaugural session of National Nutrition Week celebration, which will be from September 1 to 7, 2021. National Nutrition Week was started by the members of American Dietetic Association, now the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, in March 1973. The central government of India took initiative in 1982 to promote awareness and good health through nutrition education. The need for establishing a day for awareness of nutrition arose because a large population of India, especially children and women, do not get basic food supply due to poverty, illiteracy, lack of awareness, and various other contributing causes. National Nutrition Week 2021 celebrations is aimed to create awareness about health and nutrition and make people to understand the importance of nutrition for human body. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has declared September, the month of September, as Poshan Month, that is Nutrition Month. In 2017, the theme for this week was Optimal Infant and Young Child Feeding Practice, Better Child Health. The theme for National Nutrition Week 2018 was Go Further with Food, whereas theme for 2019 was Har Ghar Poshan Vyavhar. The theme for National Nutrition Week 2020 was Eat Right Bit by Bit. This year, the theme of feed is Feeding Smart right from start. Optimal nutrition is very important in the first 2 years of life. Complementary feeding after 6 months is very important as infants need both breast milk and complementary food to continue to grow strong and develop fully. Foundation for an individual health is laid in the early phase of life. It is well-known fact that some developing nations, including India, nearly half of children under 5 years of age succumb to death everywhere due to poor nutrition. Eating a balanced, well-balanced diet provides all energy you need to keep active throughout the day. The nutrients you need for growth and repair, helping you to stay strong and healthy and help to prevent diet-related illnesses. The main objective of celebrating this week is to educate everyone present here the importance of making proper and smart dietary choices. There will be lecture series wherein nutrition experts all over India, and there will be at the end a quiz competition also. I am sure that each one of us present here will have a lot of takeaways for keeping ourselves healthy and smarter. With these words, once again, a warm welcome to all present here. Over to Dr. Dipali. Unmute.
Thank you, ma'am. Due to unavoidable circumstances, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, is not attending the event, but he gave the best wishes for National Nutrition Week celebrations and has welcomed all the distinct guest speakers and participants. Now, I would like to request Professor Uttam Sharma, sir, Coordinator, Sri Vaishnav Institute of Home Science, for vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Well, good morning to everyone. On behalf of Sri Vaishnav Vidyapit Vishwavidyalaya and Institute of Home Science, Department of Food and Nutrition, I would like to thank all the eminent speakers of this lecture series of National Nutrition Week celebration. When Dr. Dipali came to me with this idea that, sir, we want to celebrate this National Nutrition Week celebration. So our Vice Chancellor has certain vision that he always says that if country needs good engineers, country needs good managers, equally country needs good dietitian, good nutrition, because they are also playing a vital role and an important role in the society. So our university is a young university, started in 2015 onwards. So in the very second year, we have the plan to start this food and nutrition and to develop an institute and to further go with the different types of departments in the institute. So I would like to thank our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Upinder Dhar, sir, for providing all type of supports and motivation to conduct such type of series and orations and lectures and webinars. And we were conducting such events throughout the years during pandemic type also. Under the able leadership of Dr. Santosh Dhar Madam, Dean Faculty of Doctoral Studies and Research and Chairman of Faculties of Study of the Food and Nutrition Department. She is also encouraging and looking after all the events related to academic and research work related to food and nutrition. So I would like to thank Santosh Dhar ma'am. Thanks to all the faculties, all the research scholars and students who are there in this webinar. So from today, we'll start our first webinar series with Dr. Sangeeta Srivastava madam. And then after every lecture, there will be a quiz session for all 7 days. I must thank to Dr. Dipali Saxena also for coming out with this idea, and she's working very well for spreading awareness regarding food and nutrition in the university also. Nowadays, lot of faculties and staff are coming to her that, Madam, what should be our diet? What should be our diet plan during this COVID pandemic? So thanks to everyone. Thanks to Dr. Sangeeta Srivastav ma'am. Thanks to Dr. Tripathi ji, Dr. Preeti Sibbal madam, Dr. Preeti Dave madam, Dr. Shailaja Jain ma'am, Dr. Sheila Krishnaswamy ma'am, and Dr. Pushpa Bharti. So I can assure that we'll have a good lecture series of National Nutrition Week celebration. Thank you very much. Thank you. Deepali ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I request all the participants to remain on the link. Now we will start our first lecture of the National Nutrition Week celebrations 2021. We are honored to have with us today our eminent speaker of the lecture series, Dr. Sangeeta Srivastav. Dr. Sangeeta ma'am is the owner of the insurance-based practice, Dr. Sangeeta Nutrition. She also works as a part-time faculty at California State Polytechnic University, Pomona, California. She holds a PhD in nutritional biochemistry. She practiced as a dietitian in India for 7 years before moving to United States. As a clinical dietitian, she strongly believes that if nutrition is at the forefront of the care, the cost of the healthcare, length of the hospital stay, and rate of readmission will significantly be reduced. Dr. Sangeeta ma'am is the winner of the Emerging Dietetic Leader Award in CA in 2018. Ma'am is also a co-author a chapter on Ayurveda in Functional Medicine textbook. She also served as a president of California Academy Orange District in 2013 to 2016 session. Over to you, ma'am. Sangeeta ma'am.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Deepali, for this warm welcome. And I'm very honored to be here with you all, eminent faculty. And the goal today, thank you for invite. Actually, that was very kind, and we have been in touch for a long time, right? We had one event planned and this didn't work out because of the COVID, but we remained in touch. Actually, she is a very, very, very good communicator. Let me tell you, Dr. Uttam or Dr. Santosh, that I was impressed with her communication skills, and she been in touch, and I'm honored to be here. It's almost 13 p.m. in California, but I was equally excited to be here that yes, it's a day and night difference in the time zone, but I'm happy to be here. And today we are going to talk about, that was the topic and theme given by Dr. Deepali, the type 2 diabetes management with the nutrition. But along with the nutrition, I'm a strong believer that we cannot ignore the different lifestyle factor. And I'm not bringing here because everybody knows, and I'm talking here with multiple educators holding the doctoral degree, and I'm talking here with the student. But here, this presentation, I really want to make it like a conversation and really discuss the basic lifestyle factors and what we educators can do. So at the end of this session, I want to make a call to the Vaishnav Institute educators that we have a role to play. And the change starts from the grassroots. If we want to improve the health of the Indore people, then we need to do grassroots work, and we educator has role to play. Then I'm going to call the students to be a forward thinker and nutrition faculty, get innovative teaching implemented. Anyway, I can support from here. But what we need to do is to make learning by doing and implement and bring our students in the community where they can host workshop, create flyer, which can be distributed by having a university platform. And I believe Dr. Dhar madam will agree, and we can distribute and can bring our students to the forefront of shaping the health of Indore people, whether it comes to the diabetes management or it comes to any disease. Nutrition is transformative. It has transformative power, but I also say that nutrition is a joy. Food is joy, and it has transformative power. And we need to kind of balance these two things to bring out those transformative changes. So with that, I will share my slides and I will open up my presentation, which is basic. I want to share, but I want to make it more discussion. So I would like, I don't know whether our attendees has ability to post comment or something, but I would like to share the ideas rather than kind of some discussing strong scientific research. No, I'm here to talk the basic lifestyle factors. So I will go ahead and I'll share my slide and we'll go from there. All right, so I hope my voice is clear and video might be like, I can see it's
Yes,
little, right?
it's absolutely fine.
Okay,
Sure.
so that sounds good. So at this point, yes, I'm based in California. I have been practicing nutrition for a long time now. And one important thing I want to point out here, I'm current chair of Indians in Nutrition and Dietetics, which is the member interest group within Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And with the capacity of chair of this organization, I want to offer any support I can offer to the Vaishnav Institute. If any manner we can support student or the department, we would be more than happy to do that. So thank you so much. My disclosure, I do not have any, except I share with multiple organizations as at the volunteer capacity, but otherwise I do not have any financial disclosure or any other disclosure to list. So some of the learning objectives I listed here: to review, discuss, converse, and collaborate. That we want to review the need to improve type 2 diabetes mellitus with the lifestyle tool. Why there is a need, because it's the biggest burden of diabetes. Despite of advanced medical care, the prevalence of diabetes is on continued rise. And there is a need that we think and we step in and start identifying the small steps and behavior strategies, because everybody knows eating right is good, being physically active is good. If I'm going to ask everybody, we have lots of attendees here, everybody knows that, right? If I'm going to ask how many of us do that, then I hope that not 100% hands will go up. And I'm going to say this not only to educators, I would point out and say this to all, even the healthcare provider. They can provide the quality care, but they cannot take care of themselves. So it takes time even to adopt a behavior of eating right. It takes efforts to even be physically active. What we can do as an educator, that what people can do to make that habit of eating right done. So that's why I'm not bringing, I can bring lots of scientific studies on nutrition, gut microbiome, to the systemic inflammation, peripheral inflammation, or the gut-brain axis, to the carbohydrate counting, or much. But no, I'm not here to discuss that. I'm here to discuss the basic concept and what we can do together as an institution. Second goal will be nutritional strategies. Yes, I am a registered dietitian. Nutrition is our field of expertise, and we will not go without talking about this, right? And then converse lifestyle tools like sleep, stress, physical activity. Everything matters, and how we can do. Because ultimately, if it comes to thrive in the life, we cannot ignore those factors. Then the collaboration comes, that if I'm talking to a patient, as a patient, I have a role to play, that I built my strong team of medical doctor, and do not forget to include a dietitian in your care, because dietitian will take that lifestyle change in an efficient manner, in personalized way. And then I will ask also educators, what can be done in the community, what we can offer to the community, to those educational workshops where the common people can come and understand what is the meaning of this lifestyle change, because that goes a long way. Then again, I'm talking to an educational institute and I say nobody is more important than our students. That students come and be forward thinker. No, we are done with the traditional education. We need to think forward. We need to come up and learn by doing and offer my support. A change happens on a grassroots, and we need to implement those changes, right? I hope everybody will agree with that. So why there is a need to adopt a interventional tool and a lifestyle tool to manage type 2 diabetes? Because the burden of type 2 diabetes is big. Here they are saying that this kind of study is very predominant. Anybody is talking diabetes, they are talking this particular data, that global and regional trends shifted big way from 1990 to 2007. And that's the latest data we have. So in this particular study, they compiled like a database from 1990 to 2007. And here in 2007, they found that approximately 462 million individuals were affected with type 2 diabetes. That is a big, big number. And here they pointed out they're talking about the total world population. So if we see the total world population is about 6.28%. But if we're going to see this age group breakdown here, 4.5% in the young age. So 4 or 5% even in the young age is a big number. And here we are talking about the world population. If we're going to pull out the data, like last year I was talking in India and we pulled out the data for adolescents and there was a big data actually. Right? And then we are seeing here that about 22% those age 70 plus and about 15% in those of aging 50 to 69%. So the burden is big. There is a need to change. And here they are also pointing out that over 1 million deaths per year can be attributed to the diabetes alone, which is now the number 9 leading cause of mortality. It used to be 19th or 20th when we are talking 1990. And if we're going to see this 1990 to 2017, the health facilities or advancement in a medical field got better. Despite of that, we are not able to control the rate of the diabetes prevalence. 1 in every 6 person or something globally are the pre-diabetic. And pre-diabetes, now we start seeing even the 1 in 4 could be in the United States. So data kind of varies state by state, city by city, but the burden is big. Yes, we can treat things, but there's nothing better than the prevention. We have the good treatment for everything. We got the top-notch insulin therapy. We got top-notch dialysis facility. We got top-notch the chemotherapy, but they don't come without any side effects, and they still compromise the quality of life. So when it comes to the lifestyle tool, those are way to go when it comes to the type 2 diabetes management. So here we're going to focus only on type 2 diabetes, because if I will start talking about the metabolic syndrome or the insulin resistance or the pre-diabetes, I'm not going to talk that. I'm talking type 2 diabetes, where diabetes happened, now what? Right? So just kind of like going forward with that little bit scenario, how it looks like in India. So India scenario, again, compared from 1990 to 2016, if we see this map, it looks actually nicer. The dark blue is like less than 9%. And now in 2016, there's no state in India where the diabetes is less than 9%. We have Madhya Pradesh. Our Madhya Pradesh is kind of like right here. So we are still better than Punjab or some other state. But again, it's like we are right. So it's still the 9 to 13%. This is where we lie. So overall, we are kind of better than other state. I think we can do something to kind of to bend this curve actually. Right? So it's kind of going up high, despite of those medical facilities, and we got job to do. We nutrition professional and dietitian have role to play. We need to find the place in the forefront of the healthcare to bend this curve, rapidly rising curve. And that's the number, but there is economic burden of diabetes prevalence. I didn't even bother to get and get the data. But if you start looking the data in your own city or the state or the country, here I just pulled out some data to give a representation in United States. This data is coming from American Diabetes Association, and here they are pointing out, but there will be data differently. But yes, it's a big economic burden. And when it comes to the treatment, healthcare cost is higher. And here we live, the healthcare cost does not fall on us because pretty much insurance-based it works, and we are not that much of an underburden if I will compare the healthcare cost in India. Because in India, the way the system works, the healthcare falls on the patients, and it's expensive. It alters the quality of life, right? Quality of life will be good when we are well versed or better in every way when it comes to the physical health or emotional health or psychological health or social health or the financial health, right? So we certainly want to kind of like really think that burden is big and we need to bend this curve. Who needs to be screened? And this is some data, it's coming from the Journal of American Diabetes Association, and it will apply to even the India, that anybody over the age of 45, I always encourage and tell my family members back in India that you should go and do an annual exam where you check in your blood sugar or checking the blood pressure and just have the baseline idea how the health is. But here they're pointing out the people who are kind of like more high risk. Anybody over greater, equal or greater than age 45 years should go and do a physical exam and screen for diabetes. And also if the BMI is greater or equal to 25, should be screened. If we have family history of diabetes, if the immediate parent or siblings or that should be. Physical inactivity, widely prevalent phenomena in the community. If we are habitually physically inactive, we should go and screen for diabetes. Some races are, and we Indian are genetically susceptible, more susceptible to develop diabetes. Previously identify, if last year I just went and my sugar came out higher, then absolutely we have more likelihood. If we have the gestational diabetes during pregnancy, those women have higher risk, right? If the baby is born over 9 pounds, then it's a likelihood. Hypertension. If there's a hypertension, higher risk to develop diabetes. Hypertension is measured in regard to this particular risk factor, 140 over 90 mmHg in adult population. We are not addressing any children at this point of time. Initially, we used to believe that type 2 diabetes only happens in adults. But no, now we start seeing type 2 diabetes in young children also. That's the scenario, right? And then, yes, HDL cholesterol low HDL cholesterol can also be risk factor. And then total cholesterol, total triglycerides. And the people who has, women who has polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, those women are, because of the insulin resistance, they have likelihood to develop diabetes more. And then if we have history of vascular diseases, that is more likelihood because they alter how the insulin function. And that's so if we present these risk factor, every single adult at the age of 45 should go and get screened for the diabetes. So the next one is, what is the diagnostic criteria if we are going, how they diagnose? So normally, hemoglobin A1C or glycosylated or glycated hemoglobin became the standard test for that. And they include sometimes the also do the impaired glucose tolerance or the glucose tolerance test. But I think here they start doing that. They will do the A1C test. And if it came out higher, then they will repeat again in 3 months. And if it kind of repeatedly higher, then hopefully they will go and diagnose, right? So diabetes, if A1C is less than 5.7 is normal, and this is what we are looking. If it's 5.7 between 6.5 is a pre-diabetes. If we are diagnosed with pre-diabetes, we have likelihood of developing the diabetes. And then if it's equal or greater 6.5, that is a diagnostic criteria. If we are doing the fasting glucose, then fasting glucose criteria, we are looking fasting blood glucose level to be under 100. But for pre-diabetes, if it's 100 to 125, over 125 or from 126 is a diagnostic criteria for diabetes. And then they are also doing the glucose tolerance test. I don't see anymore. I'm not sure how India is kind of doing it, but I barely see here that they are repeating the glucose tolerance test. They are done simply by testing twice the A1C, and this is how they go. So please go and get checked and keep those levels in mind and keep target to keep your A1C. If you are over the age 45, keep it under 5.7. And there are different tools, different strategies, different lifestyle strategies can be done to really manage that level and avoid or delay the occurrence of type 2 diabetes, right? And why we need to do, once we have diabetes, glycemic control becomes crucial. We know at this point of time, we are not talking about, we have different type of practitioners and many integrative professionals or some other people can come that, yes, we can reverse diabetes, right? But we do not have as such any scientific strong evidence that once you have diabetes, we have. Even the CDC says that it's a lifelong disorder. So let's consider it's a lifelong disorder, right? Then there's likelihood. If we can manage the diabetes to the optimal level, then it's fine. I can live as normal life as it's supposed to be. But if it goes higher, there's no part in the body which is not affected. No part, literally. We always see, I see lots of patients when we see that this renal disease could be prevented if the sugar was better controlled. These some of the heart condition and the severe problems could be prevented. So yes, we need to take control once we have diabetes. Your particular goal could be very different, but now we're trying to have a good glycemic control because we want to minimize the risk for both hyper and hypoglycemia. Hyperglycemia, diabetes is pretty much hyperglycemia. But if we are on the medication, suppose especially the insulin, the people who are taking insulin, they are also risk for hypoglycemia. That could be even potentially more dangerous than hyperglycemia. So the key is to manage diabetes and keep that glycemic control on the check. And once we have diabetes, that glycemic control target will be different in each individual. So the key is that we are going to see the doctor taking the medication as prescribed and following my doctor recommendation, because my glycemic target or my blood pressure target, my lipid target could be entirely different, and I will not compare that time with the normal people. Right? So what we are trying to minimize, yes, we are also trying to minimize. Why we want to keep the glycemic control optimal? Because we want to minimize the risk for diabetes related complications. And these are some of the very, very standard diabetes complications: ketoacidosis, neuropathy, nephropathy, or cardiovascular problem, eye, foot problem, delayed healing after infection. And there's so much more. So we are trying to, I'm not going to go into detail about those because we are focusing more into lifestyle intervention. I'm not talking about, so I'm not going to discuss, but certainly when the body cannot utilize the glucose, then start utilizing the fats. We got like a protein, the fat start utilizing, and then those ketone bodies, when we take energy from the fat, ketone bodies are being produced, and those ketone bodies access can create a metabolic chaos, which is treated pretty much in the ICU when we have the metabolic acidosis, right? So those kind of can be in the neuropathy. All the time the sugar is high, then our numbness or the neuropathy, the tingling or burning, feet, foot infection, that becomes very common. More sugar in the blood, kidney is working harder and harder to filtrate that, and then kidneys get affected. There's a risk for heart disease. When we have more sugar, there's a high likelihood to develop the plaques or the more and more plaques, and that cardiovascular disease. Then yes, eye problem, blurred vision, or the vision is affected. And foot care, because of the neuropathy, with the numbness, the foot becomes very, very risk factor. So always monitor your foot and see things are okay to avoid any severe or serious complication in that area, right? So we want to do it. Yes, we got diabetes. There's a need for that, Problem is bigger. We need to manage that. Now the point is how, right? So we will come back to the modifiable risk factor, because there are risk factors which we cannot modify. Example, age. I cannot stop that I'm 45 or I'm growing bigger. With each passing year, my risk for any chronic disease is going higher. If I have genetic susceptibility, if my both parents has diabetes, I have high likelihood and I cannot modify, right? But how we can, these are modifiable risk factor, and modifiable risk factor, we can certainly come back and modify those, right? But eating pattern needs to be changed. Everybody knows that, but we will touch base some behavior strategies before the end of this session. Then lack of optimal physical activity, absolute necessary. I'm a registered dietitian, and sometimes I can call it talking physical activity, sleep, or stress is not within my my scope of practice, but I'm not afraid of talking these. Just being them, making them aware, because making them aware is one step of being successful. If they are not sleeping well, their sleeping will be disrupted, the eating habits will be disrupted. So yes, we dietitians cannot only say that, no, I can only talk food and not talk physical activity or stress or poor sleep pattern. No, we can totally talk that, right? And then some other risk factor, body weight or waist circumference, especially the central obesity or the, and we are looking that, we are not certainly looking that, yes, I want you to go to your ideal body weight, but even the 5 to 7% of weight reduction can bring the better glycemic control. Alcohol drinking, smoking, they are again. And then I never deny the power of positive outlook. Because when we have the positive outlook to life, my compliance to my care is better, right? And we nutritional professionals have a major role to play in helping community in shaping their modifiable risk factor or reduce or eliminate that risk, right? So yes, we will talk about the food, but let's talk about the stress. How stress influence my diabetes control or glycemic control. This particular, I looked multiple studies and I was trying to find what is the correlation. And here they are finding out that if you're feeling stressed, there's some hormone release. We have the cortisol or adrenaline, and that kind of like really create insulin resistance. And here, what I did, even the multiple studies, there's no evidence and no data that stress causes the type 2 diabetes. There's no data, no evidence. All the studies I was looking were inconclusive. But certainly when we are more stressed, when we have diabetes, then we have poor glycemic control. So yes, it matters. And if I'm not a psychologist by any means, and I'm not giving any tools or medication to manage stress, but being aware of that stress is your first successful steps towards optimizing that. Right. So identifying, not all the time, all kind of stress is bad. If I'm teaching, I have classes to teach, I want to prepare my classes. My semester starting, I'm preparing. No, it's not a bad stress. There's a distinct, I always say, this is the object I have here. This is this Mr. Penn called a stress. I got one extent where I'm talking about the eustress, and one extent I'm talking about the distress. Eustress is fine, it's a positive stress. I'm not worried about that. But if I want to prepare my classes and start changing how I behave, how do I eat, how do I act, and everything, then that's a distress. And what we need to do, we need to come back, take a pause. It's not worth it. Only present moment is inevitable. So if we can have that concept and keep our stress in check, it has better impact in bringing a positive glycemic control. So we cannot underestimate that. And we dietitian can simply not ignore this parameter, right? When it comes to physical activity, important lifestyle tool, physical activity, numerous, if I'm going to say I'm bringing out this particular study, but there's a numerous evidences that optimal physical activity is important to increase the insulin sensitivity and bring out the better glycemic control. How much physical activity? I'm sure, I'm not very, very sure what is the recommendation in India, but here I'm bringing out some recommendation. Are moderate intensity, about 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity, and that includes twice a week strength training. Because strength training strengthens the bones and muscles and enhance the lean body mass, then we have better insulin sensitivity. So I would say that kind of like doing this much is a minimum recommendation to minimize my risk for developing the chronic disease, or to better control those management of those chronic diseases. But on the other hand, yes, daily exercises. And here they're also pointing out that, yes, you should do about 150 minutes per week. So this comes out, if I'm going to break down, to 30 minutes 5 times per week. And it's fairly doable. It's fairly doable. But here they're also pointing out that daily exercises are at least not allowing more than 2 days of elapse between exercise session. So if I'm doing 5 days a week, if I'm not going to do 2 days, so they're pointing out that don't delay more than 2 days. But here, if we go further, if we are trying to bring the better glycemic control, they are talking about the all adults, particularly those with type 2 diabetes, should decrease the amount of time spent in sedentary behavior. So the example I will give that, okay, I have a good habit. I have an 8-hour job and sitting on a computer working all the time, and I go 2 hours in the gym in the evening. Maybe that is not enough. Break your sitting cycle as often as we can. And here they're pointing out prolonged sitting should be interrupted with the bouts of light activity here every 30 minutes for blood glucose management, adult with type 2 diabetes. That is the best option. But again, if it's every 30 minutes is not possible, but it's very possible to just stand up in your desk and stretch your body. It's very, very doable. So do whatever we do at the end of the day, but again, the breakdown, that sitting cycle, even in a day, regular working day, that's very, very crucial. Your nutrition will not bring, if I'm not kind of taking these factors, whether it's stress or it's kind of like the physical activity into consideration. Important parameter, sleep. Enough data that sleep quality and quantity both matters in bringing out the good glycemic control. So here, this particular meta-analysis is the like combination of 20 studies, and I was kind of reading like this, but here we noted that's kind of like when it comes to the duration of the sleep, the curve is like a U curve actually. So it goes both way. If a duration, if I sleep too much or if I sleep too less, they both bring the poor glycemic control. But then they also point out that the poor quality of the sleep was associated with increased A1C. So yes, sleep well, both length and duration and the quality. And I'm a believer, firm believer, that optimal sleep will vary person to person. For somebody needs 8 or 9 hours of sleep, but other person can be just fine in 5-6 hours if they're sleeping well. So optimize. I normally assess that if I'm waking up next day, am I able to carry out my day without getting tired or exhausted in the middle of the day? That will represent that we have good quality of sleep. And do not underestimate the poor stress management, poor sleep quality, and inactivity. These tools are powerhouse. If you think I'm eating well and I'm taking medication and I don't need to worry about anything, no, there's a lot you can do to bring the optimal glycemic control. Then we will come to the eating pattern. Oh my God, we can talk multiple 7-week conference can be done on a diabetes management of nutrition. I can talk on glycemic index. I have my research focused on that. I'm a big believer of that. I can talk whole series on a carbohydrate counting, gut microbiome, gut-brain axis in diabetes management. But no, I'm not here to talk that. I'm going to talk the basic idea. The key point I want to emphasize here, that when I have diabetes, carbohydrate matter, even a good carbohydrate, like in your fruits or in the milk, and the grain will matter. Even if you're eating whole grain, yes, it will matter. So total carbohydrate matter. So once you have diabetes, it's crucial to really take your medication on time. And then it's crucial that you go and see a qualified dietitian, because that dietitian will lay out your personalized plan based on your individual history. Because then when I'm talking about the total carbohydrate matters, then we are looking at how much carbohydrate this person should be eating. We don't do anymore the diabetes diet plan. It was used to be when I came here, that diabetes plan. We don't even call it the diabetes plan anymore. We call it consistent carbohydrate. But total carbohydrate, and it's never one kind of myth is that when I have diabetes I cannot eat carb are enemy. No, they are not. Carbohydrates are preferred fuel of human body, and without carbohydrate, meals are not balanced, and they cannot be. If I'm going keto, if I'm going high protein, they will bring, in the United States there's a heavy consumption of protein, and we are seeing more chronic kidney diseases, more and more end stage kidney diseases. No, everything needs to be optimal. When we call everything needs to be optimal, then that carbohydrate total matters. So it's about that. Yes, we want to limit the carbohydrate. That will go with your weight and body calculation, total calories. Then we will distribute. This is total amount of carbohydrate. That total carbohydrate will be equally distributed throughout the day. So at any given time, your sugar is not going up high and not going super low. So that consistent carbohydrate is the key. Whether it's a good carbohydrate or bad carbohydrate, all carbohydrate will matter. But good carbohydrates, why they are good? Because they contain other nutrients too. So if I'm talking about the whole grain versus refined and processed grain, that will have more vitamins, B vitamins, that will have more fiber. Fiber delays the gastric emptying. I did my PhD in glycemic index, and I have evidence that fiber, protein, fats delays the gastric emptying. But I'm not talking glycemic index here. But yes, we need to understand that when we have diabetes, carbohydrate matter. Do I need to avoid carbohydrate? That's the solution? No, that is not the solution. You need to eat carbohydrate because that's the preferred fuel. Then yes, we can talk about that. Yes, we can minimize the intake of refined and processed grain and the sugar intake. Low fiber intake is another risk factor. Fiber is the most beautiful nutrient. If I'm going to say, like, put in my list, I say fiber, because widely missing nutrient, and it has important a contribution towards kind of bringing the better glycemic control. Possible sometime if I'm eating more refined, possibly I have more excess calories, sugar, salt, saturated fat intake. So on other hand, I'm consuming too much calories, too much saturated fat, too much of sugar, but on other hand, I have micronutrient deficiency. So if we see the people who have high hyperlipidemia or have obesity or have waist circumference greater than 40 or something, but they will have the vitamin D deficiency, vitamin B12 deficiency, or the iron deficiency anemia, very, very, very common. That's why I always emphasize that make each of your calorie nutrient dense. Avoid empty calories. There's a difference. I'm going to take a cup of milk and I'm going to take a cup of cola. It has equal calorie, possibly 150, but we have the amount of sugar or something like that. So this kind of like, we always want to make sure, no, that milk has the protein too. It has some fat, it has some calcium, that got some vitamin D. So there are some other vitamins. Deepali, keep me pointing out if I'm good with the time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So yes, we want to kind of like see and minimize too much of, if kind of reverse this kind of eating pattern, correct? So when it comes to, I'm kind of more into balanced approach of eating. And if I'm talking about the diabetes, this is what my distribution of micronutrient would be. And I'm successfully implementing, and I'm not afraid of giving people carbohydrate. It's about giving the right type of carbohydrate in the right quantity at the right time. So here, dietitians, you come in the picture and balanced out and create a personalized plan, keeping the individual target of that type 2 diabetes patient, right? Traditional whole grain. If here I'm not going to talk, I think I will feel stupid if I'm talking the Indian diets and other. You guys are expert in here. That our traditional whole grain, yes, they are good, rich in fiber, rich in good minerals, and low glycemic. Go back to your roots and start eating what our grandparents or great grandparents were eating. Right? We start becoming more and more refined, but time to go back to the roots. Right? Beans and legumes, lean meats, they are low glycemic. We cannot say beans doesn't have carbohydrate, they have, but they are much more balanced and low glycemic. Plenty of variety of fruits and vegetables with high fiber, because phytonutrient or those polyphenols or phytonutrients, they are very, very crucial in providing fiber and shaping the gut microbiome. And they are also crucial in removing the systemic inflammation, which is the root cause. Slow grade systemic inflammation is root cause of many problems nowadays. So when I'm targeting a diabetes in a person, I'm not ignoring the dysbiosis. I'm not ignoring that person might have the systemic inflammation. If I'm not addressing those problems, I can never achieve the optimal outcome in that particular patient. So we need to be well versed in looking the different aspect of the meal. And my simple plate pattern of full with the whole grain and the fruits and vegetables and some lean protein will make that possible. Right? Simple plate can target the gut microbiome, that can target the systemic inflammation, that can target our blood lipids, and that can bring out the good glycemic control, right? Nuts and seeds. Excellent. Sometimes I'm a believer, fruits and vegetables, when we say that we need to eat more fruits and vegetables, they are 95% water. I don't think only eating fruits and vegetables give us plenty of fiber. We need fiber from whole grains, nuts and seeds. If I'm looking about 30-40 grams, I have it here. But trust me, I'm not afraid of giving people with the good gut more than about 45 to 50 grams. That's the key gem nutrient we can get it in managing diabetes, heart disease, or the gut health, right? Then healthy fats, important. We don't need to go fat free. Honestly, we need but the right type of fat. Because again, if fat I'm bringing in the diabetes management, this fat is going to be good support in bringing the better glycemic control, but it depends what type of fat. I'm not looking the fried food, chola bhatura, or the pakora or samosa or kachori, Indore special or something. I'm talking here about more nuts and seeds, maybe avocado. Maybe if you eat fish, then please do twice a week fatty fish. So it's a good type of fat we can consume. Then absolutely one another thing, especially in the people over 50 or 55, I emphasize that I cannot ignore your bone health in managing your diabetes. I emphasize that if you do not do dairy, then absolutely go and consider the calcium supplement in women when they are in perimenopause stage. That's a big sign. So if I'm treating this person for a diabetes, but I cannot ignore the other aspect in this person. If the woman is in perimenopausal age, if the man have already start having some bone problem, calcium needs to be there optimally present. Dairy becomes prominent source. If we do not have dairy, then we need to consider other sources very diligently. And here, dietitians, you come in the picture, right? So yes, there's excellent studies, and we don't need to talk this in India. We are pretty much more plant-based, but that's an interesting study. One of my very dear friend who just published 2 days ago, actually, and she just shared, and I said, no, this sounds very promising. And this particular journal article, what she wrote, that people who were vegan had 62% less likelihood to develop diabetes, and the lacto-ovo vegetarian were like, let's see, I think they were kind of even more, 38%. So here they are pointing out that more plant-based diet they bring out the better glycemic control. So that's an excellent study. So eat your plant, because they can help us to reduce the weight. They can help us to reduce the saturated fatty acids. They can help us to bring more fiber. They can help us shape the microbiome. So eat your plant. Then again, there's another evidence here that this big gigantic study that here we are talking and it just says everything. That kind of like plant-based diets kind of like help with the insulin resistance, including the promotion of healthy body weight, increase in fiber, phytonutrient, food microbiome interaction, and also decreases in a saturated fat, advanced glycation, and end products and nitrosamine and the heme iron. They both contribute somehow towards the poor glycemic control. And when we eat more plants, we bring out the better control. So yes, eat your plants, right? Then optimal lifestyle. What we want to do, we want to thrive in a good lifestyle. And here my call is to all nutrition professional that when we are providing nutrition intervention in type 2 diabetes, that is considered a medical nutrition therapy. And we have certain standard goal. Again, my goal will change a person to person, but these are to support healthful eating pattern. Why? Because my goal is to attain individualized glucose blood pressure in the lipid goal, achieve and maintain a good body weight, and delay the diabetes related complications. Then we are also addressing the individual nutrition needs related to personal preferences. Food cannot be prescription. That is not a antibiotic prescription. It needs to be personalized. And it also need to include and educated on a behavior change. Joy of the eating needs to be intact, and the positive messages about the food choices needs to be delivered. No, we cannot criticize the patient, and we cannot judge their food preferences. We need to indirectly create that behavior change where the people can be self-empowered to make those lifestyle changes. Then yes, we want to provide individuals with diabetes with the practical tools for the day-to-day planning. We are not bringing scientific theories to share. Here you go, your diet plan. We need to give them tool and be support to them, right? So those are our medical nutrition therapy goals in this. Then yes, there's so much more when it comes to the life to thrive. And these are some I like this kind of like, this is coming from our textbook written by where I contributed chapter, but I love it. Purpose of life is important. Yes, sleep, stress, everything matters, but optimal physical activity is fine. Interest, hobbies, creative outlet of interest. Yes, that is going to improve my quality of life. Purpose of life matter and overall well-being that shape our life to thrive, even if we have diabetes. Eating right and everything comes up, but behavior change is crucial. Behavior, why people eat. These are the basic hierarchy of the need why people do anything. There are physiological needs, safety need, belonging, and the self-love, esteem, and self-actualization. These are some of the parameters people do the things, including the eating. When we are doing, and my question is to all patients, if I'm talking to all patients here, that do not be alarmed if you eat poorly. The key is to identify, if you want to eat good, ask yourself why. If you can answer that question, it will be better. If you say, I went to a dietitian because I see the patient, I ask why you're here with me. They say, because my doctor told me to go to dietitian. I said, what do you think? They said, I don't know. Then maybe I'm going to say this person is not even aware of the problem. Then how I'm going to tell person to eat right? The person is at a pre-contemplation. When we get the trans-theoretical model of behavior change, that goes into 6 stages: pre-contemplation to contemplation to preparation, action, and maintenance. My strategy will be different in this person. When the person is coming, I'm here because I have poor diabetes, I want to manage my diabetes. That person is so ready. That time, if I'm going to provide education, eating right is important. No, that person surpassed that thing. Now I need to give the person tool to take action. So take your patient where they are. They might be at different stage in life. And if I'm talking to consumer here, to the patients here with diabetes, please know yourself. No, don't listen like your doctor said that no, you need to eat well because your diabetes is poor. But you ask yourself why you want to do, because your purpose could be very different. I want to manage my diabetes. Ask yourself why I want to manage this diabetes. Maybe I have children, I want to live better life. There are things that we need to understand. Behavior change. Behavior change is not an outcome, it's a step by process. So take one step at a time, identify your own barrier, identify your own motivators, identify your own social support, and it's easy that we can go ahead and make those changes. And my last thing is collaborative care. We have diabetes, then we need to have a good continued care and good relationship with my physician. Go see your physician routinely, get your prescribed medication the way they are prescribed. Make dietitian part of your care. Trust me, you will not regret. Dietitians are a crucial part. And dear students, you are forward thinker. If we want to shape the health of Indore people, Sri Vaishnav Institute students go out in the community, create workshop, and do the flyers and circulate in the community, that you can go ahead and make changes. Do not learning doesn't need to be the book learning, but learning can be done by doing the real stuff, creating a workshop within the institute, right? So the point, my final call is patient, enhance your health literacy. Because I can be doctoral or scientist working in a lab or a medical doctor, but my health literacy could be very poor. Sometimes we do not realize. So there's a difference in literacy versus health literacy. So improve your health literacy by asking question. I want to do better job in lifestyle. Ask your question, why I want to do that. And that will find your path to go. Seek regular care from your MD and go and see a qualified dietitian. Grassroots efforts, I'm a big believer. No, we cannot make policy as a national level. If we want to change needs to happen on a grassroots. So call to all educational institutions that please support your community. We are educators. We matter. We have that power to educate the public better, and we can make that change. Nutrition educator, Dr. Dipali and all promote learning by doing. Involve your student to be involved in the community health advancement enhancement by creating flyers, by creating workshop, by kind of like writing or whatever way. And students, please be forward thinker. No. Find your niche, find your uniqueness, and go and find your way by learning, by doing. Each of us has a role to play. Each of us here has a role to play to slow down this rapid increase of type 2 diabetes mellitus. With that, thank you so much, and I will open up for questions. Back to you, Dr. Dipali.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for such informational and sharing your knowledge with deep insights, how to live a life with dietary management, special reference to type 2 diabetes. Ma'am, yes, questions, please, ma'am. Questions are continuously coming in question answer box.
Okay, let me see. Okay,
And someone is asking how mushroom can help to regulate diabetes.
I'm on the top of my head. I'm not coming across any top studies regarding that particular, but certainly I would consider as a vegetable. But I honestly do not have any data to back that up. But yes, all the vegetables are non-starchy vegetable, and if that is part of our vegetable, that have lots of studies with the oncology or the cancer prevention. But in particular, type 2 diabetes mellitus, I do not have any top study in my mind. But it's a non-starchy vegetable, can be very beneficial and be part of your good diabetic diet.
Yes, ma'am. And someone is asking about plant protein versus meat protein. Which best is consumed? Best to consume?
It depends on that. I would go this way, that total protein is crucial. And if I'm going to say, if I'm taking the protein from the red meat or something like that, that protein is also coming with the addition of saturated fats or something. If I'm doing plant protein, that plant protein, first of all, is unsaturated, but that plant protein might also be coming, like beans and legumes are coming with added fibers. So yes, when I'm talking the glycemic control, if I'm going to do it, we just shared numerous research and big studies just recently published that plant-based is better choice over the animal.
One of the participants belongs to Malaysia. She is asking about, good afternoon, ma'am. Just asking if one overdo exercise like running, can it have any effect on the body that is bad to that person? Overdo exercise, and people suffer from diabetes.
That's excellent question. That's an excellent question. So when we are talking about the physical activity, we were talking about 30 minutes of physical activity 5 times per week. But when the people are coming to me, they do 45 every day. Do I restrict them not to do 45? No, I do not. Their body become adaptive to that particular. But yes, there are evidences that when we are doing over exercise, then it induce inflammation and can be inversely. So it certainly will matter. But again, I'm going to bring the sports dietetics. It's not about that people are not training, but their nutrition care will be different into that regard. That needs to be recover muscles. If we are working, those muscles needs to be recover and rest on a timely manner. And we call it as a sports dietitian, we do not have more window after rigorous exercise. Those recovery needs to happen within 30 minutes. So it's kind of, so yes, it could impact because it increases the inflammation, but there are optimal nutritional strategies to curb that, if that's your lifestyle.
Hope one of the student of our Shubhangi, she's asking about, hello ma'am, my question is, some people like bakers and chocolatiers or confectioner related people have an occupation where it's their job to eat sweets and desserts, etc. on daily basis to test and check the food. How can they prevent diabetes?
Oh my God, that's
ma'am, she's an entrepreneur too. She has also run their own bakery business. That's why she's asking this question.
That's oh my God, that question is hard to answer. But again, it's going to come to you again. If I'm continuously eating, and not that I'm eating sweets and suddenly I will become diabetes. It doesn't happen that I'm eating too much. It takes time, and there's a different system biology right involved. But no, it's up to us. Taste test is different. You can taste test. That taste test, small quantity is not bad, but it's our own behavior change and self-control that will come. So I would encourage that practice. Identify why you feel. If you ask this question to me, that how I can prevent, that's one step that you can limit that, and I think you can limit that. But every day I would say that do not consume an excessive amount.
Yes, ma'am. Is any questions from the panelists? Sir, ma'am? Yeah, sir wants to ask. Yes, sir.
Yeah, first of all, very thanks to Swastha madam. It's really very informative and relevant. And I have one not question but one suggestions and some suggestion required from your side. I mean, our country, mostly people, when they feel some problem, metabolic problems, they go to the doctors. And I feel, this is my personal feel, most of the doctors who are treating the patients are not very aware to the nutrition. They just prescribe to the medicines, and they're not asking about their diet charts. In that cases, the patients are taking medicine, but they are just also using all the types of food which is not suitable for that dietary conditions. So which will be first goes to the dietitian, and after the clinical evidences, and make their chart, then take the medicine, or only just take care of the doctors that he is providing the medicine. This is the conditions in most of the small cities, and people.
It is, and I'm going to take it. Yes, please go ahead. I think I break your question in between, but that's the condition not only in India, it's a condition everywhere. And let me tell you, in United States, the doctors has only 19 hours of nutrition education. And we spend like bachelor's, master's and doctorate, then we go internship. We have years and years and years, and they do not, they know. And that kind of like, so here we come as a professional that we need to advocate and bring doctors on board. And it's true that they listen, they are just not aware. example I'm going to give. I had a patient who mother herself is a pediatrician. She got CKD4 and daughter reached out to me. I want to see dietitian, and she found me and she came to me. But she said, I did your doctor. She was Medicare. I said, no, I need your doctor's referral. I cannot bill your insurance without your doctor referral. But she said, no, my doctor said, no, the nutrition is only for the dialysis. No dietitian won't help you. But she came and we kind of worked and her labs got improved. This doctor was kind of surprised. And then he called me and then he started sending more patients. So it's about, we nutrition professionals, we need to stand up and make a choice, make these physicians aware. And my biggest call, we all are consumer. Be aware that nutrition is transformative, non-invasive, non-expensive. It matters. Your medicine won't do, that will increase the cost, and lifestyle intervention is necessary. So be your own advocate to your own health is my answer.
Actually, these all are the metabolic diseases, and we every time ask it can be managed to the diet. If you are not taking care of the diet, then how can we treat this by medicine? This is the major problem I feel in most of the hypertension cases, diabetic cases. So these things are the very much important to aware the diet management about the diets, what they are the preferred during their medications.
And I'm going to call it to dietitians that make your presence, make yourself visible. We need to produce, we are an educational institution. We need to produce more dietitians. We need to train them better. We need to kind of make the voice and then reach out to the hospitals, collaborate as an institution. That's where and what we want to do it, to make ideas are simple. Nutrition is not complicated, but people still do not do it. They say, I'm with the doctor, I'm taking my medications, then I'm fine. People start taking the metformin ongoing basis to deplete B12. People start taking different medication. They started, okay, now the one gentleman is the blood pressure. I just met him today that, oh my, I'm just on losartan. My blood pressure is completely fine, but no, he's giving me so I can manage other thing. And he was on lisinopril and now he developed chronic kidney disease. They were out. But sometimes it's important we weigh pros and cons, but that's what I'm coming up, that lifestyle interventions do not come with any side effect. Anytime I'm adding medicine after medicine, dose after dose after dose, it's giving us the immediate benefit, but they have underlying side effects too. So why not to make lifestyle intervention as the first line of therapy?
Even ma'am, patient have option to the rich vitamin C as orange, but they ask to doctor, please provide any medicine for vitamin C.
I know, widely available. You eat one amla and you're done with your vitamin D, vitamin C. So yeah, we have health literacy is poor among consumer. And here we're pointing out literacy doesn't mean health literacy. It's a poor literacy. And here we come and we can enhance that health literacy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank
you. Thank you, sir. A quiz link and feedback link of today's lecture are also posted in chat box. So I request all the participants to fill the feedback link of today's lecture. Any other questions from the panelists? Sir, Jan ma'am?
What about intermittent fasting in diabetes mellitus?
Good question. Okay, it's so let me tell you where the science stands. Like I would say that intermittent fasting is a very personalized approach, right? And there are evidences. There you will find the different population on different places. But again, intermittent fasting I'm doing, then I need to be aware what diabetes management, treatment, medication, insulin we have, that something needs to be considered. If I have a healthy individual going for intermittent fasting, time restricted, eating 2 meals, keeping 16-hour fast, I do not have any problem. But I will not force on any individual that who is not willing, because we are looking at compliance in a nutrition care, and the best care laid out to a patient is what works best for them. So I will take, if person is coming for intermittent fasting, I will touch base. If I see any concern, I might not recommend based on his clinical condition, based on the treatment they are doing, or if they insist, I will work with the MD to kind of adjust some of the dosing of insulin or medications. But no, there are evidences that could be better, and that can be better in weight management or the glycemic control. Science stands both ways, actually. So there are evidences about that.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, any other? Bharti ma'am, Dhar sir, Da ma'am, Sharma sir, any questions related to diabetes to ma'am?
No, I don't.
Okay, Mr. Bharti ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I don't have any question, but I just want to compliment Dr. Sangeeta. It was a wonderful talk, which is very much needed, because it is something like you have put in everything into one, one lecture. It is difficult to cover everything, but you have attempted to answer whatever doubts I had in my mind. I think I got clarified. So I'm really thankful. Okay, it was a wonderful talk, Sangeeta. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Okay, Deepali, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir, please.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. It was an honor to listen you, and I can assure from Sri Vaishnav Vidyapit Vishwavidyalaya that we will be in touch with you as far as our faculty student and research student. So thanks once again. Thank you very much. I can understand that because of the time lag, probably there might be 12:46 a.m. morning.
17 a.m. I'm September 1st now officially, so it's midnight here.
Yeah,
Yes.
So thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Very nice to meet you all.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving such a precious time to us. Thank you all for giving your valuable time. Now we meet tomorrow on 11:30 a.m. on Google Meet with our second lecture of the series. This concludes the first day of the National Nutrition Week 2021. Thank you all. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.